Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Minority Whip has raised an important preliminary issue, and I would want to add my voice to the issue he has raised. First of all, we know how, as a house and through our practice, constitutional bodies are invited to brief us. I am fully aware that in the 8th Parliament, some issues regarding BOG and its head office were raised. I was not at the business committee meeting, but I was fully briefed by the Chief Whip, and he indicated that the leader of the House indicated that the governor will have to come and brief us on the issue of the costs of the new BOG building. I found it very strange. As a result of that, I reached out to the leader himself to inquire what has really necessitated this. Well, his view was that because the matter came up, he feels that there must be a finality to it. Mr. Speaker, in principle, we must all stand for accountability, and I am for it. I'm not against the request by the leader of government business to bring a finality to a matter that gained national attention. Mr. Speaker, however, the majority leader himself is on record to have always been urging upon us to rely on the rules of procedure, the practice of this House, in guiding our deliberations. In fact, on a lighter note, he's had cause to even tell me that there are matters that I should pursue them through press conference. Mr. Speaker, as a parliament, we can file a question to get answers or invite the governor. And this must first happen at plenary. This must first happen at plenary. For a referral to be made, then the proper thing is done. Mr. Speaker, you see, Hansard is taking note of all that we are doing today. We would have to be very careful so that when we set a certain precedence and the same precedence is coming back to us tomorrow, we will not have cause to answer. That said, Mr. Speaker, we know that the governor has just assumed office. We know that there are issues at Bank of Ghana, which issues were part of the Hansard of this House. I recall that Mr. President, in 2015, SONA had raised issues of poor supervision of Bank of Ghana in our banking sector. The governor today was a deputy governor then. Are we picking and choosing which matters we want the governor to brief us on? Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, I'm happy seeing Dr. Siama himself here. He should not. Mr. Governor, don't make yourself a tool for a political football, because, Mr. Speaker, the role that the governor of the central bank plays is very critical on the economy of this country. I do not want to be doing politics with the office of the governor. Mr. Speaker, the majority must know that the path they want us to go is not good for the economy, it's not good for our country. Mr. Speaker, we cannot start a certain precedent. Mr. Speaker, if the governor's first duty is that from nowhere, business committee is now through the chairman comes to the business committee in his capacity as a leader of government business to say that next week we are programming governor to brief the House. Now, rule of procedure does not matter in this House. The human rights activists, the procedure I know in this House, who today they are in the majority, are telling the country that rules of procedure do not matter. That is what we are hearing from respected lawyers whose names I don't want to mention. I don't want to mention their names because you are in government, your law has vanished into thin air. Mr. Speaker, let us, in the interest of the country, stand this matter down. I'm ready to engage. Let's have this matter placed on ice for some minutes. Mr. Speaker, let us at leadership level, without prejudice to his argument he would want to make, to engage and to have discussion on the path. Else, Mr. Speaker, this may get out of hand and we may be setting a precedent. Listen, honorable members, Mr. Speaker, let me end by saying that any form of accountability that is necessary for the good of the country must be pursued. But you all know that there is this old saying that should all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. Mr. Speaker, do the right thing to assure the nation this constitution carries with it some promises. Our job as a house is to ensure that these promises contained in the constitution are realized. We should do it through rules of procedure and observing prudence. Mr. Speaker, I end my case.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minority Leader. But before giving the floor to the majority of the order paper for today, honorable members, page 6 of the order paper for today, item numbered 17, committee sittings, notice of committee sittings, committee of the whole, date Wednesday, 5th March 2025, venue Chamber of Parliament, agenda Governor of Bank of Ghana to apprise the House on the course of the construction of the new Bank of Ghana headquarters at Rish, Accra, and related matters. Honorable members, order. If I varied the order of business to mention this item, what rules of procedure did I breach? I will then give the floor to Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think that we need to take the business of this House serious. Mr. Speaker, as you indicated, it is in the order paper that the governor has been scheduled to come and answer questions relating to the cost of the new Bank of Ghana head office. Mr. Speaker, the communication was given to this House as far back as Friday last week, when we were presenting the program for this week. And it was part of the program that was adopted by this House. Mr. Speaker, it was discussed at Business Committee meeting. He was absent. I can understand, he was absent. But it was discussed at the Business Committee meeting. Mr. Speaker, a letter was written to the governor by the responsible clerk, Equia Osei Somwa, Principal Assistant Clerk. She wrote to the governor and invited the governor to brief the House. Mr. Speaker, we know the practice of this House relating to matters that we deal with at the Committee of the Whole meetings. We've been receiving constitutional bodies here. This is not the first time. We've received the Electoral Commission, we've received the Shraj Commissioner, we've received the constitutional bodies, and we normally receive them at the Committee of the Whole sittings. And so it is the normal practice of this House to invite